Hi, welcome to Dwayne's Guitar Lessons. We are working on my second guitar build here. And if you've been with me through all these videos, I want to say once again thank you, appreciate it. I hope you're having fun and learning a lot. I've had a lot of fun with it. If you're just joining us, let me tell you what I've done. This is a guitar that I built. It was a guitar kit. I'd never done it before. It's with raw wood. I took it and sanded the body, painted it, painted the back, painted the headstock, installed the neck, soldered the pickups, put on the pick guard, put on the bridge and the tailpiece, the knobs. Now we've got it all kind of put together. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the action of the guitar, okay? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to do that, okay? So, what you do to set the action, at least what I'm going to do, and you can kind of do this with your guitar if you'd like, is the bridge has these two screws that you can just use like a screwdriver to adjust it right here on each end. Okay, this one's got a flat-headed screwdriver, so I just use this small flat-headed screwdriver. And now on a Gibson bridge, you can tell this is like a Chinese model. I can tell because on a Gibson bridge, it adjusts from the bottom, and you either got to use pliers or you've got to use there's a specific tool that pops up like this that you can get underneath there and adjust the bridge height. Okay. I actually like this design better just because of the fact that I don't have to be down here messing close to the finish. You don't ever want to do that if possible because you could scratch the finish. Or you got to have that specialty tool, which of course you're not going to be able to buy that at Guitar Center or your local music store. Usually you'll have to order that on the internet, wait for it to be delivered, all that stuff. So I actually kind of like this design better. I think the difference between that kind of bridge and this one would be probably this die cast. This probably isn't die cast metal. It's probably not hardened, but for this purpose of this guitar, I think it's fine. A lot of guitars have these kind of bridges on there, so I think this is pretty common and a good one to work on. Okay, so what I've done is I put the bridge on, I put the tailpiece, and I put the strings on there. Okay. And as you can hear, the strings are touching the fretboard. They're way too low. And I did that on purpose so I could show you how to adjust the action. The action of your guitar is the distance between the strings and the fretboard. Okay? And if you want low action, you want it to be real low, so it plays real easy. You don't have to work real hard at it like that. A lot of people like that with their guitar. They like the low action so they don't have to work that hard at it. And that's fine. Let me see here. That's fine if you don't want to work too hard. I don't have a problem working. I think it's important to develop a strong work ethic. These guys on my shirt, Black Sabbath, did. So did all the other guys who become successful with playing guitar. So don't be afraid to develop a strong work ethic. It's going to get you to where you want to go. Okay? No matter what it is. If it's playing guitar or if it's building guitars or, as long as there's some guitar part in there, that's good. Okay? So now that I have this adjusted, the strings are on the fretboard. Let me adjust this camera. You can't really see my face. But now you can see the fretboard. These are just laying against the fretboard now. And so what I'm going to do is adjust the bridge. Okay? And the tailpiece is the same way. It's got these two screws here. I'd have to use a bigger screwdriver. But I've got that one set up a little bit off the body. I think that's a good height. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the bridge height. And this is what it's going to lift the strings off the fretboard. And which way you turn I'm turning these counterclockwise and it's causing it to lift up. If you turn it clockwise, it's causing it to go down. Okay, so what I'm doing now is just making a couple little adjustments on each side. Now there is a specific distance that you want them to be. They have gauges for that. I don't really have those gauges right now, so I'm just kind of going by, feel and everything. Because I play guitar, so I can kind of tell if it's good action or not. So, as we can hear, that string is coming a little bit up off the fretboard now. We got a little bit of sound on it. That's the 6th string, so I'm going to lift it up a little bit more. And if you listen, you can hear the pitch go up as I lift that up. Hear that? Okay. And we're going to lift the first string. Lift that one up a little bit. Now we've got the strings actually off the fretboard. Okay. But then you want to do is check each fret. See how we got some fret buzz? So that tells me that we're still way too low. Okay, and I think this nut is, I probably should have popped that nut off and lowered it, because the nut is kind of a little bit high off. So there's only so much I'm going to be able to do with that. I'm not only going to be able to really get the action only so low. It's not going to be able to get any lower than that unless I pop the nut off, and I don't know if I really want to mess with that right now on this particular guitar after I put it all together. Maybe do that on my next guitar. So, but we have fret buzz. You can hear that. So that tells me we need to lift the bridge up even more. So we'll lift it up a little bit more. We have fret buzz on the first string. First string's not too bad. We've got a little bit of fret buzz down here. I might have to adjust the truss rod on that. See, this is pretty good right here. That's sounding pretty good. We'll lift that up a little bit more. Now if you want to get technical, get the gauges and get the actual height that it's supposed to be. Like I said, I don't have all that right now. I'll probably get that in the future. This is just my second guitar I built, but and this is going to adjust all the strings, because you don't have individual adjustments. That's one thing I do like about the Fender bridge on the Fender Strats, is you can actually adjust each individual string, just the height of each individual string. I really like that. This one, it's not quite like that. You can adjust the intonation with the saddles, but you can't adjust each individual one like the Fender can. But that's alright, this still works pretty good. These are real common. You'll see those in a lot of guitars. You might even have these on your guitar as well. Okay. So now we're getting to where we don't have that fret buzz anymore. There we go, see? So that tells me that our height is about where it needs to be, because we're not getting any fret buzz anymore. Now we just got to get the guitar in tune, and then once we tune the guitar, and you want to make sure, and then we'll set the intonation and make sure you got new strings when you go to set your intonation. That's real important, because there's a lot to the intonation and stuff. I'm just going to show you the basics of it in the next video. How to adjust your saddles right here. And basically the intonation, you got your distance of your pickups to the strings. Okay, that makes a big difference. Me, I like high output, so I just pick up with the two screws on the side. There's two screws on the side of each pickup, one on each side. I'm sorry, not two on each side, but one on each side, and those are adjusted the height of the pickup. So when you screw that screw, you're going to see the pickup either start to go down or start to come up. Okay, now if you like a real heavy kind of sound, like I play like, you know, this kind of music, Black Sabbath, that kind of stuff, heavy metal, hard rock. I like a high output in the bridge, so I'll make the bridge pickup high, close to the strings, and then the neck pickup I'll have that maybe not quite as high, but just a little bit up. So I usually mainly use the bridge pickup. I don't really use the neck pickup too much, but that's how you adjust that. Okay, you just adjust the bridge like that. Make sure that the strings are off the fretboard. There's no fret buzz. This looks like it's got some fairly low action, nothing major. And I still might have to make some adjustments to the truss rod. Okay, so now you can see my face here. I like to at least see my face a little bit. Some of those videos was you can't even see their face, but that's okay. Each to his own. I like you to kind of see my face when I'm teaching you here. So now I think the strings they're not buzzing on the frets. Well, we got a little bit of fret buzz right here, so I might have to adjust the truss rod on that. Because if I bring it up higher here at the bridge, the action is going to get real high. So I might have to maybe straighten out the neck a little bit. Might have a little bit too much relief in there. I'm not really sure. I have to do a little bit of research on that topic before I teach it to you. This is only my second guitar. I didn't really have to do much with the first guitar that I built, the Frankenstein one I built. And if If you've been watching, you know which one I'm talking about, and if you haven't, I'd highly recommend going back and looking at that, because that guitar came out very cool. It's my second one here. A lot of my students told me they liked the guitar I built, and so I thought, what the heck, why not build another one? And I built this one right-handed so they can give me some feedback on it. So now that I've got these strings off the fretboard, usually they say about, you know, like a business card is the kind of distance you want. This is just a receipt, but the kind of distance you want between the strings. But everybody plays a little different, you know. Some guys like a little higher action, some guys like a little lower action. I kind of like mine a little bit in between. I like to work a little bit at playing the guitar because I think it builds up strength in your hands. If you've got this really easy playing, you know, you're not going to build a lot of strength in your hands, you know, and a lot of people probably don't like that. I personally myself do. I play a lot of heavy metal and I like to hit the strings hard, so I kind of need the action to be a little bit higher than probably normal. That's just my style. Everybody's got their own style. So now what we're going to do is we're going to tune the guitar, okay? And I've got this little tuner here. This is, I don't know if I can set this up here or not to where you can see it. Probably not too much. It's kind of at an angle, so I don't think I'm going to be able to set it up for you here. Let's see. So you can actually see it. Let's see, that might work. Let me put this together. This is a Boss Chromatic tuner. I like these ones a lot. These are awesome tuners. They are very accurate. Okay, so, and what I like about them too is there are a couple functions. Number one, it functions as a tuner. Number two, it functions as a power supply. It'll power up to like seven other pedals. So you don't have to use 9-volt batteries, because these pedals, they're either powered by a 9-volt battery or they're powered by a adapter. So, you know, if you're using 9-volt batteries for, let's say you have 3 or 4 pedals, that could get kind of expensive. Those 9-volt batteries aren't cheap. Or you've got to use adapters. So if you had an adapter for each one, you know, that's a lot of cords and everything. You don't want that. It's real messy. But this, you can get a daisy chain and go from here and power your other pedals, and you don't need the 9-volt batteries. You don't need the all the adapters and stuff. So that's just, you know, that's just one way of doing it. That's the way I kind of like to do it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to tune the guitar, okay? And as you can see, what I like about that, this is an E, it's our low E string. That's what I like about this, is you can really, it's really accurate. So it tells, so once they're in the middle, it's green. And since these are new strings, it's going to bounce around a little bit, but it should give us roughly where we're at. Now what I like to do, and I'd recommend doing, is tune up. Okay, when you tune, I like to pull the strings a little bit so they're used to being on the fretboard. Okay. Don't want to pull them too much, you don't want to break them, but just kind of stretch them out a little bit. So as we can see, I think this is what, G sharp, or yeah, D sharp, okay. And I know it's a D sharp because it has a little dot after it that tells me it's D sharp. So I'm going to keep bringing it up, tightening the string, and as you're going to see as it goes to the right, it's going to bounce back over to the left and turn into an E. And when it's in tune, it's going to turn green, and you have the two yellow arrows on each side. So that's roughly in tune right there. Okay. A. You can see, is that our A? Yep. That's roughly in tune there. Good. D. Excellent. That looks like that's pretty close. There we go. Bring it up a little bit. And with new strings, they're going to get a little bit used to, being on the string, on the fretboard, so they're being stretched. Okay, so that's a little bit low. I'm going to tighten the string, bring it up. As you can see, there we are, G. Our next one, B. B looks like it's pretty good. Bring that up just a hair. And then our next one's going to be an E, and that looks like that's in tune as well. Alright, so now the guitar's in tune. Guitar in tune. Now we can go about the process of setting the intonation, setting our pickup height, which I've kind of done already. Just, I don't know, when I'm working with this stuff, I just start going off and just doing it, and sometimes I forget to shoot videos on that, so I'm sorry about that, but basically your pickups are just your pickup height, and everybody plays different, so you just got to find what works for you, okay? So the best thing to do is just kind of, you know, find what works for you. And like I said, if this isn't something that you find fun to do, you know, take it to your local repair shop and let them do it. But the whole thing we're doing here is trying to learn how to do this ourselves just for education and entertainment purposes, so that we can get our guitar to sound the best we can possibly get it to sound. And this guitar setup is a little bit different than the last one, because the last guitar I built had the Floyd Rose tremolo. This one has what's called a set bridge and tailpiece. This is more like the Gibson kind of style. Okay, these are real common on a lot of guitars, and by just doing these little adjustments, this is going to really make a difference on your guitar, how it plays, how it sounds. So I would highly recommend learning how to do this if you've got a few guitars, because you take it over there, they're going to charge you 50, 60 bucks or so to set it up, to replace the strings and clean the fretboard and set the intonation and all that stuff, which I'm going to show you on the next video. And it's going to really make a big difference on your playing. So I want to say, let's conclude the lesson there. Tuned up the strings, and we set the bridge height for the string action. So the string action is the distance between the strings and the fretboard. Okay? So thank you once again for watching. I appreciate it, and until next time, take care.